home. Alright, it looks like we're now live. Yes? Yes, it looks like we're now live. Perfect. So, we're going to go ahead and we're going to continue with the Q&A. Now that I've pretty much said everything that I want to say regarding you and Mia, we're going to be going straight into Q&A. There are a couple of questions that I'm pretty sure are still going to be asked. I do think that 2.4 is definitely going to be one of the better updates when it comes to free-to-play players. Union is just looking really, really strong. But before we do any of that, I do want to do a quick run through the Spiral Abyss. So just kind of figuring out a little bit of how to beat this one. My teams are mostly already at the point where I can beat them without even having to worry about. This is one of the teams that I've actually been testing out for quite a bit. This is pretty much just a burst spam composition, which abuses Bennett and just very strong burst characters to do a significant amount of damage. Just like a fun little thing that I've been working on for a bit, but we're unlikely to be using this particular team for Abyss. This Abyss, it's annoying more than it is hard. Most of the enemies that you have to fight are incredibly tanky, and we've had this Abyss for a while already, so I know that a lot of people are already probably used to it. It's not really the most entertaining of things, if I'm being completely honest. You're either beating everything immediately or dying to everything. As you can see, these guys are the ones that are causing the most issues at the moment, mainly due to the health scaling they have. They have insanely high health, so it is very difficult for people to fight them within the very, very restrictive time window they give you. The other one that causes a lot of issues is the triple Mao Kinkies. A lot of people who have invested into shields are probably not going to be having a lot of issues with these guys, because shields can be very strong against them. But if you're not that heavily invested, if your defensive options are not that high, if your offensive options are not that high either, they are very difficult to fight. Very, very difficult to fight. I'd avoid doing Abyss until the Battle Pass arrives so you can get the Get 12 Abyss Stars challenge. That's a good point. That's a really good point. I'm probably still going to do it because I usually don't struggle with Battle Pass anyways. So, it's whatever. It's whatever. I don't bother too much about it, but yeah, you do bring up a good point. If you're thinking about doing Abyss, keep that in mind. You're not going to get the benefit from it. But anyways, we are still going to be doing it. This is kind of like the team that I've been using for my Abyss runs for quite a while. This is the traditional team that I have that has quite a significant amount of damage. And then in the other slot, I'm just putting in a very traditional Geo composition without having to worry too much about it. Where's my Albedo? There he is. These have been the two teams that I've been using. Sometimes when it is required, I do bring in the Ayaka composition, but as since right now, I am not happy with it. I'm really not happy with my Ayaka composition. It feels strong against very specific enemies, and utterly weak against bosses. So, I'm going to be waiting until I get Ikumi. I'm going to be waiting until I get Shenhei before I invest super heavily into this. But yeah, this is just what we're going to be doing. Yeah, any questions that you might have, this is going to be the time to ask for it. 2.4 is definitely going to be an interesting patch, despite how light it is on actual new releases. We're not going to be getting a lot of new stuff, but the stuff that we are getting is likely going to be very strong. I think I've mentioned it on the Discord chat, that the way that abilities like Shenhei and abilities like Yunyin have, they can be abused really, really easily. And once we actually get them, once people start playing around with them, not only taking a look at just the base math, you're going to be seeing a lot of very creative uses for them. Once we actually get a lot of the animations down, and once we get a lot of that stuff out of the way, You're going to be seeing a lot of very strong compositions. I think the ones that are going to be getting a lot of the limelight is definitely going to be the Shenhei compositions, since those are the ones that are more flashy for whales. In my opinion, Julian is just a better character. Union is 100% the character that's going to change a lot of things for a majority of players. I think for people who have already invested very heavily into characters like Ganyu, people who have invested very heavily into characters like Ayaka, a lot of people who have very, very strong Anemo characters they can consider for future freeze comps, they're going to go for Shenhei at some point or another once they realize how broken she is. It's just going to be a matter of seeing what ends up happening for a lot of players. The first floors in Abyss are not really that difficult. I'm kind of just playing on autopilot, not even bothering with it. This Abyss. We've pretty much all gotten used to it. This just kind of remind me. How did you guys fare when it comes to the Amplifier event? I know that this version of the Amplifier event was fairly difficult for a lot of people. I definitely struggled, particularly during the last one. I think the last one was probably the one that I struggled the most against. Everything else seemed fairly easy, but the last one was very, very difficult. I had to do that multiple times. I only ended up getting about 22,000 points, I think, which was a bit unfortunate, but it's what happens. What do you think about Yoimiya plus 4-piece Archaic Petra for Union? That's a good question. 4-piece Archaic Petra and Union. The main thing that you're going to have to consider on this one is how you're going to trigger the Archaic Petra. If you have Bennett on the team, that's probably going to be a very valid option. However, because a lot of the scaling that you're going to be getting from Union is going to be based on defense, and because her personal stats don't even matter that much, as long as her defense is really, really high, it might honestly be better to just go for the Husk of Opulent Dreams, or to stay with Tiny Miracle, 2-piece Opulent Dreams. Just because the extra scaling that you're getting from that is likely going to be about the same as if you have the Archaic Petra buff. So the Archaic Petra buff is probably going to be do more damage overall, but it's going to be more annoying to set up. And if you're not setting it up perfectly every time, you're going to be doing less damage overall. So this one is more consistency versus top potential. And I feel like the consistency is much higher with the Husk of Opulent Dreams. So I would probably aim for the Husk of Opulent Dreams. If you do want maximum damage, I think Archaic Petra is definitely one of the ways that you're going to get it. But it's still going to be very iffy, because the damage difference shouldn't be that high. Yoimiya already has a lot of benefits from general boosts to the things that you can do. So the Archaic Petra, the extra 40%, while very powerful, might not actually be more than the extra, what is it, 700-ish defense that you can get. It's probably going to be less than that. Let's see, Husk of Opulent Dreams plus Tiny Miracle. That's like 60% defense. If we assume that Union has 734, which is according to the data that we have, I don't want to say the word because you know how Mihoyo is. She's probably going to have that about that amount. So it'll end up being around 400-ish. 400-ish attack. Multiplied by 420. That's a 3-second period. It might actually be higher than that. I'm just going to multiply it for the entirety of Yoimiya's kit, because that'll be easier. I'm going to assume that you have Yoimiya, I'm going to assume that you have Union, and I'm going to assume that you have a third element. Just because that's probably going to be the most realistic scenario. So at that point, the scaling is 70%. At 70%, we're going to be assuming 400 extra defense, multiplying that for the duration of Newabi Fire Dance. We end up with a scaling of a lot. A lot. 21 hits. 1,470, then we go ahead and we multiply that for 400. Yep. That's a lot. That is a lot. I don't think Archaic Petra is going to be the way to go. I think it's for sure going to be Huskovia Dreams. It provides about the same. It's just so much more consistent. I wouldn't go for Archaic Petra. At least not for Union. The main problem with Archaic Petra right now is that it's so difficult to set up that oftentimes it's just not worth the setup. The only characters that I can see that use it effectively are like Albedo in very specific compositions because he has the Elemental Mastery buff. So if you use Albedo plus the Archaic Petra in buffing characters like Hu Tao, for example, then that'll probably work well enough. I don't think Union works enough in that scenario. Once we get a spear with defense on it, that might change. But for now, the defense bonus is probably the way to go. At least for now. I just realized I don't have any of my bursts. But yeah. Definitely a lot of possibilities for the future. While I don't think that particular variant is going to be good right now, it only takes like a single weapon to change that. So it's going to depend very heavily on what we get in the future. If we end up getting a spear that has defense as the main stat, I can definitely see Archaic Petra Union being a thing. Because you're not losing that much at that point. I guess it's going to depend on how much defense the staff has. But if we take something like the Cinnabar Spindle as our baseline, then yeah. As long as it gives like 60 defense, then it's probably worth sacrificing the artifact slot into Archaic Petra. Just because stacking so much defense is not worth the effort. Once you get past the 2,400 mark. But at the moment, that much defense you can only get with Husk Opulent Dreams. Even though Union's elemental skill is insanely powerful, it's probably not going to be the focus for her, except in Geo battery compositions. I think that's where you're going to be using the elemental skill quite a lot. If you're using it as a Geo battery, that's probably going to be really good for Union. Oh my god. Another thing that I definitely want to aim for is Raiden. Raiden is very quickly becoming one of my favorite characters. So I definitely do want to try to get her Constellation 2 as soon as possible. I got super lucky with my Raiden. I got her to C1 during her release. So if I can get her to C2, she's just going to be such a massive character that I'm probably never going to change. Things are dying too quickly. I'm not getting to use my Noel. The problem with Geo comps. You don't get to use your main DPS because your burst supports kill everything. Definitely a nice problem to have. But yeah, a lot of possibilities in the future. I'm still waiting for a buff to Diluc, if I'm being honest. I think right now, greatsword users are probably in the worst place they have been in a very, very long time. And from as much as I'm trying to think of something that can put them into like a good position, I just can't think of anything. If I'm being honest, I think the best greatsword user right now is probably Eula, and I've already explained why I don't like Eula. I'm hopeful that we're gonna get something for them in the future, because I do want to end up using Diluc. Same deal with Electrocat over here, Kaching. I'm actually working on a video on how to fix Kaching as a character. And my current idea is to actually lower her elemental skill cooldown and kind of turn her into a character that's similar to Bennett. I feel like that would be really, really fun for Kaching's playstyle, and it would fit her really well. That would probably make her a really strong character considering how much scaling she actually does have. It's just the cooldowns don't fit too well for her. That's my current idea on how to make Kaching like a better character. Give her like half her cooldown on the elemental skill, and then give her like a sword that has the same effect as the black sword that you get for free. The one where if you trigger elemental reactions, you can increase your attack by a significant amount. But then have the sword have the main stat be like electro damage bonus to abuse it from having other characters like Bennett use it effectively. I think that would be like a really, really good way of making Kaching viable in today's game. But I don't know. That is just something that I've been toying around with. I'm still working on the script for that one, since there's a lot of things that I still have to kind of look at. I do find that particular variant, it wouldn't be OP, but it would be significantly more fun to play, and it would actually be viable, which is why I like it so much. It would play fairly similarly to main DPS Bennett. Wait, was this one the ones? Was floor 10 the one with the heralds? Oh god, I always forget about this one. If this is the one with the heralds, I don't know if the Geo team can kill the second one fast enough. That is definitely something that I've been planning on doing for a bit. I've had in my mind an idea for a series called Fixing Genshin. I think I'm probably... Oh my god, I hate these guys. I'm probably going to try to make it into a reality this year. Originally I was going to start with Chi-Chi, but Chi-Chi's actually good now, so I'm probably going to start with Kaching. I still want to do a part for Chi-Chi in particular. Same for Barbara. While I think those characters are good, but they're just so restricted for no reason. Oh my god, I need to pay attention. These guys are so annoying. I'm still figuring that out. But that is definitely something that you might see in the future, like a series called Fixing Genshin, where I just go through characters that are not that good, and I try to buff them, whether it be by changing their abilities directly, or by making weapons that would fit well into what they do. I definitely chose like the worst team for this part of the... I definitely chose like the worst team for the second half, didn't I? It's like a full Geo composition into enemies that are completely resistant to Geo. Oh well, it's not like it matters too much. Did I not snapshot that properly? I did not. That's fine. Again, it's not like it matters. This is kind of one of the things that you get in Genshin once you get like teams that are properly set up. A lot of free-to-play players are definitely not at the rate that I am at right now, where I can kind of just ignore a lot of things. And even now, I'm pretty sure that a lot of people who have invested into the game a significant amount, they're probably looking at my damage and laughing, saying it's incredibly low. But I don't know. I think I've made my characters fairly strong considering the limits that I have been on. Despite not having spent that much and not having a lot of the characters at maximum constellations, I think I'm doing pretty good. I don't know. Yeah, this is the Abyss Heralds. I really need to start remembering this. Oh, you survived? The good thing is that I still have Bennett here, so it's not going to be that big of a deal. There we go. Alright, so I have about 2 minutes to deal with the Hydro one without any elements. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine, right? He's definitely not gonna just annoy the hell out of me. The good thing is that I do have Fischl here, and my Fischl is at C6. One of the big problems here, though, is that without Albedo, I'm not actually getting enough energy for Fischl. It's not the end of the world. There we go. Thankfully, I don't have to worry too much about it. Alright. Floor 11. This is probably one of the ones that it's going to be... This is the one where things actually start getting annoying. So I am actually going to pay attention to this one. Just gonna... regular Abyss things, in all honesty. I have not enjoyed Abyss in quite a while now. I think it has been very, very boring as of late. Not even because the challenges are It's not even because about the challenge. Abyss has become so much harder to such an insane degree that more often than not it just feels like a complete DPS check. It's not fun anymore. It has never been fun, really, but it's not... Look, this one, it's a target defense. We have to defend the target, figure out a couple of different ways of trying to keep the target defense at 60% or anything of that sort. There is no thought put into it. Every single encounter in Abyss has become, can you kill everything as soon as it spawns? Yes or no? And it has been incredibly boring because of that. I do definitely think that I do want to do a... Oh man. Put that in English class for sure. I do definitely think that I do want to do a video on fixing Abyss. I know that that is something that's going to happen within this year. I just don't know when. The one that I'm currently working on is the updated free-to-play tier list. Okay, so I have the Kairagi on that one. Okay. We're gonna do Geo team up the front. And we're gonna do Shangling team on the second one. But yeah, that is definitely one of the things that I want to work on. The one that I am working on right now is the updated free play tier list. I want to make that into a proper video. I don't think I'm going to make that into a stream this time around, because I do want to explain a couple things regarding a couple of the placements in the tier list. So yeah, with the updates that we're going to be getting with Union, with the updates that we're going to be getting, that we got for a lot of characters like Albedo, as well as Kokomi, I do want to upgrade the tiers slightly for a couple characters. I've been thinking about downgrading Tartaglia as well. I'm still not sure when it comes to that one, because while I do think that he deserves the S+ ranking as a character that can enable a lot of things, I just don't think it's as oppressive as it used to be. Now that 2.3 is out and we have a lot of the Inazuma characters being insanely good, I don't know if I can place Tartaglia into S+ anymore. I think he's probably going to be the only one that's going to be ranking down. Not to say that he's not good or anything. I just don't think that his value is as high as it used to be. Not with other characters having such a higher value now. It's very difficult for me to justify it. I did that so poorly. I should kill these guys first. But yeah, kind of see what I mean when it comes to this. This has kind of become like kill everything as soon as it spawns or just lose instantly. So it has not been that fun for me. And I imagine that a lot of people are in the same boat. I think the timer is definitely one of the reasons why it has become so kill everything or you're not doing anything. I'm thinking of a lot of ways that you could fix a lot of Abyss without changing the structure that much. I don't know if MiHoYo would implement any of my ideas anyways. But it's definitely going to be entertaining to try at least. So yeah. Do expect a Abyss rework in the future. Don't know when, don't know how, but I will do it. I think I need to increase the energy recharge that my Fischl has. I should probably look into that. $38K. Sure, why not? That will be it later for you when we have the extra geo damage. Which, funnily enough, you would think it would do. You would think the extra 60% geo damage of this floor would actually do a lot for DPS. It doesn't. Which is really funny. It looks really, really flashy, but in actual DPS terms, it's not that much of an increase. I forget how little that ability actually does until you buff it to oblivion. Can I kill both of them? Yes. There we go. Not bad. We'll do defense. These guys are typically where a lot of the annoyance comes from in this particular floor, because of the bombs. If you're struggling with that, just remember that you can immune it with a burst. Oh, it died. Never mind. I was trying to hit the crab. I didn't realize it died. Alright, and that should be that. Not bad. Not bad. We did that in about... what was it? A minute and 10 seconds? That should be enough for this. And there we go. That's floor 11 out of the way. Let's go over to floor 12. This is the one that's the most annoying, that's for sure. We're just going to be using the Geo team. And we're going to be using that against the Magukenkis. And we're pretty much just going to be doing the exact same thing that we've been doing for most of the floors. It's just kind of, sadly, just brute forcing our way through everything. That's kind of how Genshin is at the moment. There's so many characters and there's so many enemies that just get completely screwed over by a lot of the mechanics in the game. That the only real way of playing a lot of this is just kill everything as it's spawning or CC them to death, like I'm doing right now. This is one of the reasons why I really like triple elements. With Electrocharge in particular, because it is really, really good at stunning enemies. A lot of the Inazuma enemies. It's not that good against the enemies from Mondstadt because they get sent flying away and it can be a bit annoying. But against a lot of the enemies from Inazuma who have massive stagger resistances, they only flinch, so you can still hit them with pretty much everything. I don't think I have the correct artifacts equipped on my child, now that I'm looking at the damage. It's whatever. Those wolves, they're pretty frustrating. I know that a lot of people are having a lot of trouble with them, just because of how tanky they are, and how much they teleport. That is definitely one of the design flaws that Genshin enemies have been getting as of late. A lot of teleporting enemies. I am a big proponent for not having teleporting enemies in pretty much anything. I play a lot of D&D and I can confirm that players don't like it when your enemies start teleporting all over the field. If you're a DM, try giving any of your sorcerers Blink, and you will see how much your players will hate you. Alright, we must deal with that one though. Alright. Next one should be the Magukinkis. The first round is probably going to be annoying, but it shouldn't be that much of a deal. I think Bennett should be getting his burst really quickly. Okay, so... Ooh, this is bad. Alright, we're going to go ahead and we're just going to use this time to get... Shangling up. There we go. Use my immunity frame to get a little bit of health. And then we're going to be killing this one. Alright, I'm gonna reset this one. I played this so badly. But yeah, this is fine. What I need to do is I need to get my Raiden up. And I forgot to do this ability at the beginning, which is why I'm losing a lot of my energy. We'll do that, we'll do that. Get Shangling fully charged. Messed up the rotation, that's fine. God, I hate these enemies so much. God damn. I am not a fan of these enemies. I normally don't struggle that much against these guys, but I was not paying too much attention at the health of all of my guys when I was fighting the wolves. I didn't realize they were this low. There we go. That was so much better. These are the takes that you don't get to see when a lot of people are doing showcases. The multiple times where these guys are just completely and utterly crushing them to death without being able to do anything. But yeah, now that we're here, we have what? 3 minutes? Couple Magukinkis? Easy enough. Alright. Let's get a little bit of our energy set up. There should be enough. Ah, it broke instantly. That's unfortunate. I lost a lot of damage from that. It's whatever. Oof. Barely lost my fischl. And there we go. Last Magukinki out of the way. We should have enough everything for the last one. I don't think the last one's gonna be that big of a deal. With extra defense, that'll probably increase the power of Albedo by a good amount. Let's do this. Oh boy. This one's gonna be close. The flying torpedoes are very, very difficult to deal with when they're just teleporting around everywhere and you're not able to hit them. 828, I do think that this team should be able to deal with it. Thankfully for me, Noelle kind of just nullifies everything here. Alright, it looks like we have 40 seconds to deal with the Ruin Guards. That should be enough. I was close. I was close. I got hit on the switch in. That could have been bad. And that was it. So, that has been Abyss. This Abyss is not particularly the most entertaining to watch, I know. It has been weird. I feel like the timer is just not a good way of challenging people. I would much rather have different challenges that are based around the timer. That's my biggest problem with this particular Abyss. Because when you're using time as the main determining factor for how well you're doing, that means that the design of your enemies, they're designed to waste your time. And that's the thing that I don't like. Because when you're fighting enemies that are designed to waste your time, it gets frustrating really quickly. It's one thing to have enemies that are harder to take down the longer you take, but it's another to have the entire base set up like that. It's just very frustrating. But anyways, this has been my run for Abyss. The reason why I have not been streaming my runs for Abyss has been because they have more or less been like this. Incredibly boring. But yeah, with that out of the way, I do think that I'm probably going to start working on the next thing that I'm going to be putting, which is going to be the free-to-play tier list. I am not going to put a date for this. but I am hopeful that I'll be able to finish it relatively soon. If you enjoyed, thank you very much for watching. Consider subscribing if you enjoyed and you want more Genshin content in the future. Portals.